afternoon. It's Friday the 24th of March, and carrying on from the earlier news story about the atrocity in Westminster, I'd like to talk about London's Mayor, Sadiq. Very interesting man. I'd like to start off with showing you the video of what he had to say 5 hours after his city was attacked. He finally came out and gave a press conference.
Keep us safe, and as a consequence of their hard work, reducing the numbers of lives lost and people hurt and injured.
How hard is it to keep the capital safe in the current climate? The attacker yesterday, all he had was a car and a knife, but that's all he needed.
It's worth reminding ourselves that for a number of years now, the threat level has been severe. That means, according to the experts, an attack is highly likely. The Metropolitan Police Commissioner, who retired recently, said last summer, as far as an attack was concerned, it's a question of when, not if. And there's been 13 occasions over the last 3 or 4 years where attempts to terrorise us, to kill and to maim have been thwarted by the expertise and excellence of the police and security services. And we've seen around the world, whether it's Paris, Istanbul, Orlando, other parts of the world, terrorists be successful in killing dozens of people, injuring many others. And so we've got to always be vigilant. We can never be complacent. We've got to support our police and security services by providing intelligence. Any information we might have, let them have it. They work incredibly hard. We've practiced for these things. Most recently, a couple of weekends ago, outside here on the River Thames, there was a practice taking place from the police and security services. And it's because they practice regularly, they're the best in the world, that they responded so quickly yesterday.
The Metropolitan Police have said that this kind of attack is something they prepare for, but they hope will never happen. You in the past have said that you feel, living in a city like London, terrorism is part and parcel of life in a capital city.
Well, what the experts say is that the threat level is severe. That means an attack is highly likely. The outgoing commissioner said it's a question of when, not if. And we know from other cities around the world, they've been the victims of terror attacks. The important thing is we mustn't cower. We mustn't allow the terrorists to succeed and to destroy our way of life or to divide communities. We've got to show them that we're resilient. Democracy, justice, civil liberties, our way of life, tolerance, our values, they hate the fact that here in London, Christians, Jews, Muslims, Sikhs, Buddhists, Hindus, those who are members of an organised faith and those who aren't, don't simply tolerate each other. We respect each other, we celebrate each other, we embrace each other. They hate the fact that we've got elections and elected politicians who go about their job making laws. They hate the fact we've got a free press. They hate the fact that we're such a vibrant, successful city. We are the greatest city in the world. This isn't the first time terrorists have tried to destroy our way of life. It's not the first time they've killed Londoners. But I tell you what, we've shown in the past that we're resilient. We've shown that we're not going to allow them to cower. So we're going to show them that again today.
The greatest city in the world, but it has been the victim of a terror attack in the last 24 hours. How closely do you work with security services about keeping the capital safe? And in light of what happened yesterday, right at the heart of Parliament, what do you want to see from the security review that will follow?
One of the reasons why I say that our police service and security services are the best in the world is I've seen at first hand over the last 10, 11 months how they evolve and adapt to make sure, just like the terrorists and the bad guys evolve and adapt to find new ways to harm us, we find new ways to keep our citizens and our city safe. And I've been so impressed by not just their bravery, not just their courage, but the innovation of our experts to keep us safe. And they're going to carry on doing that because it's really important to recognise that terrorists will find new ways to try and divide our communities, to destroy our way of life, to kill, maim and injure us. We've got to carry on evolving and adapting too. That means, by the way, understanding that we police by consent. Our police officers, our security services rely upon the intelligence, information from members of the public to come forward and report things. And that's one of the reasons why there's been more than a dozen attacks thwarted by the police and the experts over the last 3 or 4 years. And I'm looking forward to our police and security services continuing the rich legacy and heritage they've got of keeping us safe.
The message of this morning from all official sources is that it's business as usual. MPs will be sitting in Parliament. While we've been talking, bollards have been wheeled into the area of the Houses of Parliament that's effectively sealed off behind me. I can hear sirens in the background where you are. The Queen was meant to visit the new Scotland Yard building today for a tour. That's been cancelled. How can it be business as usual today?
Well, over the next few days, members of the public will see additional armed officers, additional unarmed officers, and steps being taken by the police and the experts to keep us safe. The investigation is ongoing, and the police will carry on investigating what happened yesterday. We've got to make sure we're not complacent. It's important to recognise today that there are literally millions of people returning to work in London. Parliament is reopening today. City Hall is open today. I've seen many businessmen and women returning to work today. That's who we are. It's not the first time terrorists have attacked our city. It's not the first time, I'm afraid, Londoners have tragically lost their lives and been seriously injured. It's not the first time people have tried to divide our communities and destroy our way of life. But I tell you what, in the past, we've risen.
So, Mr. Khan, saying the right things, sounding quite plausible. It took him a long time to get someone to write it for him, but it looks good on television. But we have to go back and take a look at the things that Mayor Khan has said in the past. For instance, he feels that any big city has to accept terrorism as a way of life, because you're a big city, it's going to happen. Okay. I think that would be worth debating at some time. He also goes on to talk about no point in talking to the Muslim community that are Uncle Toms. In other words, people that agree with the white community, the indigenous British community. That's actually a derogatory term used very much in the black community in the United States. Let's have a look at him talking about it.
I wish we only spoke to people who agree with us. I can tell you, I've spent the last 3 months in this job, 4 months in this job, speaking to all sorts of people, not just leaders, not just organisations, but ordinary rank and file citizens of Muslim faith. And that's what good government's about, is engaging with all stakeholders. Now, you can talk about articles in the newspapers about what one organisation may get. The point is that you can't just pick and choose who you speak to. You can't just speak to Uncle Toms. You can't just speak to people who will say what you want them to hear. But I can assure you, and you can speak to government ministers who will tell you the hard time they've got talking to ordinary British citizens of Muslim faith, British groups of Muslim faith, and I can tell you nearly all of them are a critical friend and are willing to say it how it is.
So, Mayor Khan uses derogatory terms for the part of his community that he considers aren't radicalised, so they must be against Islam. Okay, so how about Brexit? Britain voted for Brexit. Hooray! We can stop this constant flow of immigration. We can stop a lot of the terrorists coming in that have been getting in and that will cause us problems in the future. Hopefully we will have less of those now. I'm sure that Mayor Khan agreed with Brexit and he couldn't wait for it to happen. What do you think?
Well, the London Mayor, Sadiq Khan, has been reacting to the EU referendum result in a speech to business leaders this morning. He said the top priority now should be focusing on remaining in the single market during negotiations with the EU.
I don't have time for those who say that the public was somehow tricked or conned into voting to leave. Campaigns are tough, as I know better than anyone following the brutal mayoral elections this year. But you can't blame campaigns for the decisions that the public make. The British public knew what they were doing when they took the decision. So the real question now is what next? I've spent the last few days talking to business leaders, some of you are here today, and the message from executives and entrepreneurs could not be more clear. They believe that the crucial thing now is that Britain must remain part of the European single market. And I totally agree. I'm sure I don't need to tell you why. 500 million customers, nearly half of all British exports, the passporting of our financial services, the foundation of British jobs, wealth and prosperity. Remaining in the single market needs to be priority 1, 2 and 3 of our negotiation with the European Union. And what's more, I'm confident we can achieve this.
Well, that's the London Mayor, Sadiq Khan.
Well, that's Mayor Khan's view on Brexit. I think he's got the same ideas as me. No, maybe not. Let's have a look, see what somebody thinks in Britain of Mayor Khan, a fellow YouTuber, giving his insight into the guy. Please be warned, there is some abusive language.
This is Islamic sympathising piece of shit. Look at him. He should stand down. He's been involved in terrorism. He knows terrorists. He doesn't give a flying fuck. This country should not have a Muslim London mayor. He sympathises with this. Look at this. This is a face of an evil piece of shite. Look at him. Filth.
We've had a very good cover of meeting chaired by the Prime Minister.
Oh yes, of course we have. Scum.
Discussing how we can ensure that London continues to be one of the safest cities in the world.
Yeah. You've been in office, what? Not even 6 months. And look, a terror attack on your watch. On your patch. Already. Dickhead.
Bravery of our police service and the hard work of our security services.
Just look at this scum.
The attack led to a number of lives being lost and many others being injured. But as a city, we're not going to be cowed by these terrorists. We've shown in the past.
You are a terrorist.
These terrorists. We're going to do so again in the future.
Sadiq Khan, terrorist.
Were in the House of Commons when the attack occurred.
Prick.
I think he made his views clear there on Mr. Khan. I'm not saying anything. So I think there's quite a bit to debate there about Mayor Khan and whether he's good for London, whether he's good for Britain. I would love to hear your views on it. You'd probably guess mine, but I would love to hear both sides of the coin. Get in contact with me at my email address on the comment section, and we can have a debate either on Skype, or I can just read out your emails or messages. That's fine. My email is phil, P-H-I-L, B-H-A-F-C @gmail.com. I think I said it slow enough for everybody. I'd like to end the video just with a view of the migrant problem that is still going on. For people who don't believe it's a problem and what's happening, just take a look at this, and this could be Britain very, very soon. So in the meantime, take care and goodbye.